I should be live. Can't tell. Sorry guys, I just had some technical difficulties again. I pay all this money for this streaming service and it doesn't work. So I went back to OBS. So hopefully I'm live now and you can hear me. There was a lag in my audio on the last portion there. So I am assuming I am, okay, I am good. All right. Sorry guys, once again, I'm always technically challenged with this stuff. One of these days, I'm gonna get a streaming service that actually just works. So hopefully you can hear me all right. Give me a comment below if you can hear me okay, because I had some audio problems. I have what do you call it, a Rode mic hooked to me so that when I'm actually demonstrating the live installation, you'll be able to hear me. So, but anyways, what I was mentioning is that this is gonna be the fun part of the project. We finally got here, we got all of the waterproofing in, and now we're ready to go ahead and set tile. And if you prepare properly and you get things set up, you know, depending on the type of tile that you're installing, it really, really makes it for a fun part of the project. It really comes down to the preparation. And today we're gonna be installing this mosaic tile. So babe, if you can show that. Yeah, so it's basically an octagon tile. It's, you know, it's considered a mosaic. It's going to be less than a 2x2, and there's little diamonds in the middle of it. So this is somewhat of an intricate tile installation, but since we've already floor leveled everything, it's going to make the installation really, really easy because everything is 100% flat and we're ready to go. So if you remember, if you've seen any of my other live streams, what we used for this was Ardex liquid backer board. So this is a self-leveling compound that we poured over heated flooring and it made everything 100% flat. That is really, really critical for these small mosaics. If you don't do that, it really makes this a painful project. In a lot of ways, it'll end up just looking terrible. And believe me, take that from you know, experience. One of my first tile jobs that I did with small mosaics like this, it looked absolutely awful because I did not have the subfloor 100% straight or even, and anywhere that there was any type of a hump or any type of a bump, you could just see it immediately, especially if you're going to use a different colored grout. So it's definitely, you know, really worthwhile to take the time and get everything 100% level. So, all right, Nate, thanks so much for hanging in there, man. I'm glad I didn't advertise the live stream to all over the place. So thank you for confirming that the audio is good. But yeah, so the liquid backer board was a big part of this. It doesn't have to be liquid backer board. It could be just any type of self-leveling compound. But again, getting that flat is going to make a big difference. And then what we had done over top of it for waterproofing was Hydroband. So this was a liquid waterproofing. If you see my other live stream, I went into why I went with this application. And the big reason is because I was able to just basically paint it on over the self-leveler and it didn't create any humps or any additional bumps. So if you use like a sheet membrane like Schluter or Guru or, you know, you name it out there, whatever type of sheet membrane, even Ditra, you could possibly set this mosaic on Ditra, but it has a waffle in it. And if you want to make it 100% level, you have to put a membrane over all of the seams. And what that does is create a hump, you know, so anywhere there's a little bit of a difference, it's going to really show up on this type of mosaic. So I went with Hydroband because it was just a liquid waterproofing. It's all seamless, did 2 coats of that. It's kind of like a swimming pool out there. So we're in good shape with that. So what I'll be using, just to give you reference, today we're going to be using Ardex X5. So if you're part of my channel, you know I highly recommend this thin set, especially for somebody who doesn't do tile all the time. Main reason is because the pot life is really, really long. I mean, you can mix this stuff up, get about at least 3 hours, depends on your humidity and the temperature. If you're out in the sun or something like that, it's not going to last as long, but it really is going to give a very long time on the pot life in your bucket so that you have time to do all those cuts and do all those things. So one popular place people like to buy this from, because it's a nationwide company, is the Tile Shop. So you can always go there to purchase it. I find it not to be too bad of a price. I mean, they're saying 25 bucks. Oh, that's X3. I wanted X5. I know I actually haven't even used X3 before. Ardix is a huge company. They got so many different products out there. It's unbelievable. So yeah, so 37 bucks a bag. Definitely more expensive than anything you're getting at the home stores. But again, it's really going to make the installation much, much easier for you. Another small thing about this is that it's a 40-pound bag. So you can dump that into a bucket and really mix that pretty easily. The 50-pound bags of thinset usually overflow the bucket and cause a problem. So it's kind of nice having the 40-pound bags for the most part. So, and then as far as, you know, the tools and stuff we're going to be showing in here, be sure to check out my Amazon store. I actually just did do a live demonstration of all the tools that I'll be using in this process. And really the flooring, it really doesn't take a whole lot. You don't necessarily have to bring out that wet saw. And actually I really recommend probably not using the wet saw on a lot of these mosaics, and I'll explain a little bit more later on why that is. So this is a live demonstration. This is not anything necessarily rehearsed in any way. It's gonna be just the way it is. I actually, you know, I've been messing around with the audio and all these different things here, so I haven't even gotten a chance to lay any of it out. So this is all gonna be the real deal. Hopefully you can see well enough here. Might have her come in here and zoom in a little bit. We can zoom in and out a little bit. So hopefully this PTZ camera does it, but we're gonna get real footage so we can have some more polished videos later on. But I just kind of really feel like it's important sometimes to demonstrate exactly what it really takes to do this stuff so that you're not caught off guard when you do it. Because if you watch Instagram, Facebook, and all these other places, it just seems like all of this stuff is a breeze and you can just whip right through it in a, you know, in a very short period of time. And that's not really reality. Even, you know, I've done, I don't even know how many bathrooms I've done. I've done quite a bit. And each one has its own challenges. Each bathroom has its own things that you have to overcome. Maybe some things that aren't level or out of square. You know, every situation's different. This particular bathroom was in a home that was built in 1910. So there isn't a single thing plumb, level, square, anything about it. So we did the best that we can, and we're going to do the same thing with the tiles. So hopefully some of these tips on here on how to install this will help you out. And again, thanks so much for joining me. Give me a like on this video, it helps out the algorithm. And be sure to subscribe because I'm going to have some more polished videos out there to be able to you know, help you out. But also leave questions in the comments as well. I'm not going to be able to see that while I'm out there working, but afterwards I'll kind of do a recap and you know, conversate and answer any questions. But yeah, thanks so much, and we're going to get right into it here. So yeah, I agree, Nate. X5 isn't good for about everything for sure. So let me get myself off of here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we got that.
Don't forget to shut the door whenever you're done getting your art.
I could probably just be sure we, and I'll just put this here just so. Okay. All right, so first thing for floors, I'm looking this way. I guess I have that on the opposite way, but anyways, big thing is having some knee pads. Highly recommend these Pro knees. I think the model number is 0714. You can look up it on Amazon. I have it in my Amazon store as well. Lifesaver. You know, I can't tell you, you know, I've done a lot of tile without knee pads, and it was really stupid of me not to have this a long time ago. So definitely recommend a good pair of knee pads when you're doing floors. And if you're a contractor, it's definitely going to allow you to do this for a much longer period of time. All right, so we're going to do our little intro for the official video, and then we're going to get into mixing some thinset and getting started here. So, all right. So you can hear me, all right?
Yeah.
Okay. You can stay back there or wherever. Yeah, that's fine.
Oh my God.
All right, so we're going to install these mosaics on this floor. So be sure that you had done the prep work. That's going to make it really easy since we've already done the prep work with the floor leveler. So now that everything's nice and flat and waterproof, we're going to go ahead and install these. So I want to give you a bunch of tips on how to go about this and make this easy on you. And you really don't need a whole lot of tools to install them, just the right proper technique of installing it. Let me try that again.
Let's go warmer. It's low. I mean, like I can hear you, but it's low.
I can turn it up.
Okay.
I mean,
I mean, because if you turn it up on here, then it just like blasts.
Yeah.
It's really bad. So.
Okay.
Okay.
So in this bathroom floor, we're going to be installing a mosaic tile. So these are very popular, kind of a traditional looking type of tile, but there's a lot of points that you want to be able to install this correctly and make it easy on yourself. So I'm going to give you a bunch of tips on how to go about doing that.
You got it again?
Yeah. All right, so it's time for the fun part of the project. That's actually installing the tile. So if you did the prep work prior to this, it's gonna make this installation a lot easier. Today we're gonna be installing some mosaic floor tile. And I wanna give you a bunch of tips on how to set this, the methods on how you wanna do it, and some of the tools that help make this a lot easier for you. So let's get started. So the type of thin set that we're going to be installing was made, try that again. So the type of thin set I highly recommend for any beginner or any tile installer is Ardex X5. Main reason is because of the pot life that we're going to have in the bucket gives us plenty of time to make all the accurate cuts. Especially when you're installing mosaics, you need a little bit more time with setting everything, cutting things, and getting things set up. So X5, really, really highly recommend it. We're gonna mix them up and get ready to set the tile. I need to get my... Okay. I don't know where my measuring cup went. I thought I had everything here. I guess I don't. I think it's downstairs. Okay, so to set these mosaic tiles, we're going to use one of my favorite thin sets, Ardex X5. What's really great about this is that it has kind of a non-sag quality to it, and the biggest thing, it has a nice long pot life so that when you mix it, it can sit in the bucket for quite a long time. So it's always important to measure your water first. The ratio is between 6 and 7 quarts per bag, and I'm going to go right in the middle, around 6.5 quarts. little bowl. All right, we'll get the tail end of this. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, Ernie. Yeah, I'm going to be facing the camera this way from now on here, but I needed to mix some thin set there. Come on. Okay. All right, so the most important aspect for setting any mosaic tile is making sure your floor is nice and flat. So as you can see, I have a 6-foot level here, no space at all. Everything's 100% flat, and that's really what really makes this a nice, easy installation. So anytime that there's any type of deviation in that subfloor, it's going to make this, you're going to be able to see it immediately. And it's really hard to build up mosaics. You really can't add more thin set underneath of them. I mean, you can, but then you're going to have problems with it coming up through the joints and making it a lot harder for you. So if you can use some self-leveler, I definitely think that's the way to go. It makes it a lot easier. So a couple other tools that we're going to be using here. So one is, well, this is my scraper. This is a linoleum knife. It doesn't seem like a tile tool, but it really helps, you know, remove any of the thin set out of the joints. It allows you to move things around a little bit. Probably use this on, you know, hundreds of square feet of tile. So it's the way it looks. Another one is going to be some tile nippers. This is just going to help cut some accurately around the toilet flange and make any cuts. This is not 100% necessary, but it's definitely helpful, and I definitely like to use it. Now, as far as trowels go, so you can do two ways, and we're going to demonstrate the coverage of each. But typically, you would go with something just about as thick as the tile. So this is a 1/4 inch U-notch trowel. This is typically what most tile setters would set with. This is probably what I've used for most of my career for mosaics, is using a 1/4 by 1/4. But there is a better method, and that is to use even a deeper trowel, 1/4 by 3/8, and then flat troweling it after you get it troweled. I'll show you and demonstrate that. It definitely provides a lot more coverage, and it's definitely the way I go about doing it now. So either way works. This has definitely been a proven method. I've done tons of tile with 1/4 by 1/4, but this method, keep watching, you'll see the difference in the coverage. Another thing is just a grout float. This is just to tamp it in place, and then we're going to be using some grinders with a good tile blade. So what I like using is these Montolit CGX blades. This is just to do some of the excess cutting, and we're going to get into it. But what I like to do is I have a grinder here with a dustless, basically extracts dust from here. But I like to do all my cuts dry. Main reason is because if you try to run this through a wet saw, it can make this backing really weak and kind of fall off. And then when you go to set the tile in place, if it comes off the mesh, it's a real pain in the neck. It's just a lot of placing each one individually. So I like to dry cut it. I don't like to get my mosaics wet because it just creates more problems and harder. And plus, you don't want any of your tile to be wet before you set it in the thin set. It needs to be dry so that you can actually get a good bond to the back of the tile. But each type of mosaic is going to be a little bit different with how the backing is. The biggest thing about these though, in all these mosaics, is that you need to pay attention if you can actually see the tile. So on the back of this is like a netting. You can see the actual physical tile. That's a good thing because now you can have good coverage of thinset actually bonding the tile. If you see any type of mosaic that is completely coated in the mesh and you can't even see any of the tile, I'd be cautious of that because you're just relying on the glue on the mosaic to actually bond to the thinset. And in recent years, or in the past couple of decades that I've been doing this, if you see that completely shellacked with it, a lot of times the tile will end up coming loose, especially in wet areas like shower floors. I haven't had too many issues on major outside floor areas because you're not usually getting enough water to penetrate it to be a problem, but I definitely have problems inside of a shower. If you can't see the tile and you're not getting bond to the tile, you're going to be subjected to possibly having that tile come loose at some point. So, before you purchase your tile, definitely pay attention to that. It's really important to be able to bond thinset to the actual tile. Okay, so since it is a mosaic, when it comes to referencing, forget about what's necessarily square. It really is going to be the visual reference points that you need to go with. These are pretty small. Now, obviously, if anything's extremely out of square, you're going to be able to see that one way or the other. But I would just pay attention to the visual areas. So we're going to have a vanity here. We're going to have a toilet here. The biggest visible area you're walking in is going to be right at this tub. So if you make this tile even with the tub, making sure that everything lines up, we're basically going to be cutting these diamonds straight down the middle and starting from that angle and working our way this way. If our walls are out of square, that's what it is. But if you have this uneven right against the tub, it's gonna look really bad, and that's what everybody's gonna be kind of focused on. So I would recommend just starting out where the tub is. That's gonna be your square mark and work your way from there. So let's go ahead and still get a center point. I think it's important to find the center so you can try to even it out on the other side. So we got basically 58 3/4, so 29 3/8. It's our center. So let's just take a look at this for reference of what center might be. So we'll make the center of those diamonds right on the center, and we're just going to hand lay these out. A lot of times it's just easier just to lay them out, to take a look at, see what it's going to look like. But ultimately I'm just trying to obviously eliminate slivers. We're going to have a tiled wainscoting on the sides. So you're going to have some room for error as far as overcoming the sides of the tile. But I always do like to set my floor tile first. Half there. Let's see what this looks like. So looks like that 1.5 inches. I'll be right at that. I think I'll be right at that half point here. Let's see what that looks like. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do actually, I think that's going to work just fine. If we center that on top of there, I think that'll work. I just want to try to eliminate any real small slivers, and I don't want to be having to have a small diamond in that edge. But let's just take a look at where our full width is here. So we got 71.5. Let's see if this maintains like the same level all the way across. So 72. It grows a 1/2 inch, so it is going to be somewhat problematic. Yeah, so growing over 1/2 inch is going to be, So we're gonna probably want to try to make our tiles so that they basically come in the middle of our octagons, because that can overcome a better look. So we have almost like, you know, an inch of room. So if we stay right in the middle of that, so let's just go ahead and try to stay in the middle and see what that looks like. So I'm putting my center point right on the center of my octagon, and then let's see where that gets us. So that's probably going to be better off, because then I have a little bit to play around with here on here. So and really my bigger reference point is really going to be, yeah, so that'll work out well. I guess it's about a half tile there. All right, so we're going to go right on the edge of here from our center, but really just laying this out is going to give you the best reference of it. So just, you know, that could take you a little bit of time to lay it out, but the way I think I'm going to go about this is basically having this right on this tile corner here. So then, so if we mark this as my center point here, so 34. So I'll just reference that, and then we're going to basically run our tile from that point over. So. All right, so again, I would rather prefer cutting all this stuff dry versus using a wet saw. The main reason is because I want to be able to set the tile immediately and not have to let it dry, and I don't want to compromise that mesh on the back. So we're going to go ahead and cut these diamonds. Now, I mean, pay attention to your actual mosaic. If you have some additional netting coming outside of your tile, then you want to reference this. But right now, the way that all of these are laid, it doesn't really matter which way you go. It's just a matter of, because there isn't any extra netting on either side. So I can pretty much, when I bring my extra tile across, I can go either direction. So it really makes no difference. I'm just going to align I'm going to cut my dots so that they're up against the tub, so that I have a visual reference and making sure that they look all nice. So let's go ahead and cut a bunch of these tiles with that. I'll put my mask on. Unplug that. Hey babe, just show me cutting this. You don't have to keep going back and forth throughout to cut that out.
Really satisfying.
Okay, all right. Well,
You should show them your cut.
what's that?
You should show them your cut.
Oh, so that just basically cuts our dots in half there. Now, you know, with the grinder, you don't have to be 100% accurate with this because you're going to have a caulking joint up against the tub, and then I'm going to have those tiles on the side coming over top of it. So, but this allows me to, you know, be able to set this tile right afterwards pretty easily. So I just think if you move too much, it's hard for me to speed through it because I'm going to have to cut each part of you moving over.
So what would you rather be filming?
I'd rather just film these cut. I mean, you did a couple of those, and then we'll just do the last one where you showed down against the
You
tub.
just want me to show you cutting?
Pretty much.
Okay.
So I'll get these cut here. Okay, so keeping these straight are really going to help make this look right. I have one more piece over there. Okay. All right, so now that we got all these nice and straight up against the tub, now we can go ahead and set that first row. And once we set that first row, the rest of it, you just pretty much follow that pattern. It's really, you know, just like any wall and installation as well. If you get that first row level, everything works out pretty well. So this is gonna be just fine. Might have to do a little bit of fine tuning when I go to set it into place, but yeah, just making sure that you have that first row straight and everything cut up against the tub, we should be in good shape. Okay. Yeah, we still got people in there. Okay, that's good. All right, then I think you should go on the other side over here to film this part. You know what, actually, right there, we'll just demonstrate this real quick. Well, you know what, let's just set the towel first and then we'll demonstrate the differences. Well, I don't know what to do now. I guess I'm going to explain why I'm going to go with this. All right.
So stay right here.
Yeah, I'll just stay right here. Okay, so when it comes to setting mosaic tiles, my old method and a lot of people's method are just to use a 1/4 by 1/4 inch U-notch trowel or square notch trowel, typically the same size as the tile. Makes a lot of sense. Once you trowel that, you tamp it into place. You don't want that thin set coming up through the joints, and eliminates that. But I'm going to go with a much wider trowel, so 1/4 by 3/8. And if you were to just trowel it, you're definitely going to get thin set up there, but I want to show you a trick that's going to get you better coverage. And that's what this is all about. It's about having better coverage to your tile, which, you know, the better the thin set coverage, the better the long life of that tile installation is going to be. So let me just demonstrate real quickly what a traditional 1/4 by 1/4 looks like. So like any type of tile installation, you want to burn the thin set into the substrate. Okay, and then we'll go ahead and use our 1/4 by 1/4. Totally acceptable way to do it. So we'll set that here, and then we'll go ahead and use our 1/4 by 3/8. Okay, so much more thin set. All right, and then we're gonna, but on the 3/8 one, I'm just gonna lightly go over it and flatten out the ridges. Something like that. And so let's just set that on here. So just like this side would be. Now I probably put too much on that one side. That's not going to be fair. I'm going to have to try that again. But basically what I want to indicate is the differences in the coverage. So pulling this up, pretty good. Some bald spots on there, but ultimately totally acceptable installation. On the side that I flat troweled, let me try that again. I mean, honestly, it usually works out better than that. maybe I will be just using the quarter by quarter. I mean, I've been using the other one for some of the shower floor installations. Okay, so quarter by quarter. So quarter by quarter, plenty of coverage there. Pretty happy with that. Yeah, you know what? Forget it. Forget it. I'm doing quarter by quarter because that doesn't really. I mean, I've done the quarter. It makes sense. I see a lot of tile setters doing that, but you know what? It's not worth it. It could be, but it's not worth the effort. I don't want to have this thinset coming through my joints, and I've been using the quarter by quarter for much longer. So YouTube, I've gone to a couple Schluter seminars, and they were showing me about coverage on mosaics, and I thought it was a really good idea when I saw it demonstrated as far as using a thicker trowel and then back troweling it, flattening it basically, and it gets better coverage. But I tell you what, just doing that experiment on this particular tile, I'm getting the same amount of coverage on both. So to me, I'm just going to go with the quarter by quarter. But this is still a good point to do, is to test your tile, make sure you're getting good coverage, because you can't just go with one trowel that you've always used. You have to double check it to make sure that you're getting that proper coverage. Where I see a lot of problems, not necessarily on mosaics, but I see a lot of problems with like plank tile in specific, is some of them are very bowed and curved. And even with a leveling system, you need a more thinset. So you might always use a Euro notch trowel or a 1/4 by 3/8 inch notch trowel, and it's worked just fine. But sometimes it's a good idea to double check it and go up with that bigger trowel size to make sure that you're getting that good coverage. And this is a perfect example of that. I'm sticking with the quarter by quarter. I'm getting good coverage, and it's going to be less fighting of me, with that thinset coming in through the joints. I really thought the 3/8 by 1/4 was going to do better than that. Oh well. She did it on like 2x2s that were 3/8 inch thick. So I think it made a bigger difference with that. Yeah. Yeah. Hopefully I don't need that.
Yeah.
All right, so I think it's going to be better for you to at least get this first row from over here. Yeah. Just right there is fine.
I'm clearing out my foot first. Can you?
Okay, so we got our first row established. We'll just pull them aside in the same order that we put them in so that we don't get confused. Okay, so you always want to take a damp sponge and wipe down your surface. And this just gets the dust off of it and makes it glide easier. So we're going to be using that quarter by quarter since we already tested it and we're getting good coverage. So first part is to use the back side of the trowel and work it into the substrate. This is going to get you better trowel lines, and the more consistent your trowel lines is, the better that you're going to get coverage on this tile. So work it into the substrate and then directional trowel. Okay, so pay attention to the excess thinset in any areas because you don't want to have to fight getting it out of the joint. All right, so we'll go ahead and set our towel into place. And before I tamp it, I'm just going to set them all into place first. So basically just sweeping the towel over each other and into place. So the one thing about these mosaics is that they don't sit flat. It's going to show very easily. You know, this towel is not very expensive, but it can look really terrific when set flat, but then if you have any bump anywhere or anything that's not sitting right, it'll highlight it and look really bad. Okay, so we'll get those pieces in on the other end first, but so we'll try to square it, make sure these stay flat. I'm just going to use a straight edge to make sure that my tiles are all in a line, because that will make a difference. It'll kind of grow on you in some fashions and be problematic. So if you get this first row straight, then you can just basically eye it up for the rest of the time. I'd rather have a little bit of a bigger joint up against the tub because I'm going to be caulking that joint anyways. So, you know, the tub joint, as uniform as I want it to be, having a little bit of a gap is not a big deal. But being straight is going to make the rest of this installation much easier. So there we go. So that's not too bad.
Forgiving. The tile is not forgiving.
Towel's not forgiving, no. My worries. Okay, so now you've got it in place. Now you can just lightly take a grout float and embed it into place. feel that tile, make sure it's all flat. Okay, so this is where having some of these horseshoe spacers are kind of nice in case you don't have the spacing, especially on these little diamonds. They sometimes don't stay where you exactly want them to be. Use your linoleum knife, scrape out any joints, and get these the way you want them to be. Try to make these, some of these diamonds definitely don't align properly. So it is a tedious process, just a matter of setting it, but pay, you know, if you spend the time on the first row, the rest of it will go a lot quicker, just like anything else. If you start out with a bad foundation, the rest of it just fights you all the way. I mean, these diamonds might fight you all the way regardless, but I'm getting a paintbrush. Paintbrush can make it somewhat easy to pull out some of this thinset too, but we'll have time on the second row to get more of this, so I might grab that. I don't have too much overage, but you know, if you spend the time now, you won't have to do it tomorrow when it's all hardened. It's a lot harder to get that thinset out tomorrow. And we're going to be going with like kind of an off-white. And I did go with a white grout or a white thinset on this because I think it just makes sense since we're going with a lighter color grout. You know, the gray can be pretty unforgiving if it comes through the grout joint, whereas white, not so bad. All right, so all these small pieces you want to kind of back butter a little bit and you're installing. So just get a little bit on here. Try to maintain a gap in the corners. You're gonna, just for expansion, contraction, movement of the tile, because it does expand and contract a little bit, especially with the heated flooring. Ceramic, not that much, but I mean, it's still a good idea to give that space, and the wall tile is gonna hide it anyways. actually not too bad right there. Should be able to set these right in place. Okay.
Get it close up so you can actually see.
Oh, I got one more diamond in the corner there too. Twelve by 24s are a lot easier.
Oh,
I'd be halfway done with the room by now if it was. Okay, that'll work. All right. All right, so here we go. Go in there from here on out.
So what? Into the bathtub?
Yeah.
I love it.
Huh?
I love it.
Good. Yeah, then I'll have to get you a board.
Oh, again. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Basically rinse and repeat. Only it's going to be a little bit easier now that we've got all those main cuts out of the way. So now it doesn't matter where we start, we just gotta follow the pattern. So I'm just gonna lightly set them before I tamp them in, because I want to be able to move them around without getting a whole bunch of thinset everywhere. Just paying attention to my spacing. Coming up to my toilet. Where is my knife? Utility knife. Don't even have it in here. You know what I did with it. I need to cut.
Looks like a box cutter.
No, yeah,
That is not something else.
I cut a piece of go board with it.
Like a dog.
Yeah. I'm sitting on a computer. Okay, so if we're on the toilet flange, let's go ahead and try to set this and basically pull out all the tiles that are going to interfere, and then we'll cut them in piece by piece after we get the tiles in. Those tile nippers go now. Oh, they're right there. So these don't have to be really super accurate, since I'm going to be putting a toilet flanger on here that has plenty of room. So I'm just going to use these tile nippers. Something like that. That's right anyways. Take out one other. Okay, so I'm going to tamp this in place. Actually, I'm going to get a little bit of a different type of spacer that might make this a little bit easier. I always have a slew of different pipes, so let me just grab those. And then a paintbrush. Okay, so these tabby spacers, they're like little wedges. They could be a little bit more accurate with trying to push some of these diamonds to where you need them. And actually, yeah, they are going to be a little bit easier than those horseshoe spacers, actually. And I'm going to use a paintbrush to get more of these thin set from underneath of here. So make sure you're overviewing this whole process, looking at all of your joints. Because if you're going to go with a darker grout or something different, it can definitely point out any errors that you may have made at this point. Especially in the main visible areas. That looks pretty good. All right, so we'll go ahead and use our towel nippers. Yep, maybe that might be kind of tough to do with towel nippers. Sometimes you can just pinch. Yeah, it's not gonna really work all that well. Looks like we're gonna do the grinder for this edge pieces. Probably looks a lot easier speeding this up 300x. and then doing it in real life. We got diamonds on that side, so yeah, kind of come out with the tile. That's better. Okay, moving on. Let me just double check.
That's why I like this file, because it looks tedious.
Hey Nico, what's your recommendation for getting the toilet flange properly sitting on the top of the finished floor? I have a cast iron flange, and with the towel going installed, the flange will be below. So Nick, if you're going below, if the flange is below, you can just add on an extension ring. So Odie makes those extension rings. You just basically silicone them over top of it. But typically a jumbo wax ring can go between a 1/4 inch below and a 1/4 inch above the tile layer. Now in this particular situation, I have a new flange, so I'm installing a flange over top of this tile. But yeah, that's a pretty common problem. Best way is just to use those 1/4 inch Odie extension rings, get them flush with the tile. That's really ideally where you want it, is flush or on top. You know, flush sometimes makes it a little bit easier. Just use a bigger, one of those extended, thicker jumbo wax rings. Okay. All right, so next row. plastics off there. That's why that was off. It wasn't 100% square around here. That makes a lot more sense. I was going to say that's starting to get pretty far off over here. Just the way I had the tiles around the flange. Paintbrush does really help. It kind of gets it down below that tile surface, and you're not having to remove everything out of the joint. It just needs to be a good 1/16 inch below so that your grout will cover it. That's not even, this one wasn't even placed right at all on there. Some of these backers don't get these tiles placed properly. There we go. That's close enough for that toilet flange. You don't really have to be completely tight against there. It's not going to matter anyways. You got a 7-inch ring that's going over top of it, so as long as you're going to be able to keep that flange on top of that on top of the tile. Okay. That's too big area. Yeah, that's too big. That's too small. Come on. Okay, and then that's everything. Okay, so it felt pretty good. Move on to the next row. Notice things. And when you spread this thin set, you don't really want it to be sitting too long before you set the tile. So, maybe 5-10 minutes at the most. Otherwise, it'll skin over, and then you'll have a problem with coverage. Okay, so now fine tuning. place. Some of these dots are really not set in there right. Yeah, well, that one definitely isn't set right. There we go. Okay, looks good. Yeah. all right. Looks all right. All right, next row. What's that?
The battery.
Yeah. Looks like I do one more row before I have to this. It's a classic look. definitely going to be, I can't believe how bad this bathroom was before.
It's gonna be such an upgrade. You like it?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think it goes with the style of the home. I mean, you can't really hate it.
Can't really go wrong. This is a pretty safe bet. But it does go with the house.
Yeah, you know, and the thing is, they used to wet set this stuff in mortar. Couldn't imagine how stressful that might have been installing. Much more complicated.
You did a good job though back in the day.
Oh yeah. They had flat floors too. I mean, that's what when they did the mortar, they really made sure it was all flat. Okay. I'll just cut that edge over there. Yeah, it's a bit bigger. You want? Okay, so now we'll work our way out of the room here. You know. What's that? Huh? All right, cut some tile for that. I guess you just have to cut the diamonds on. Yeah, kind of. Oh, a little smaller than that. All right, I'll grab 'em. Hmm?
The hole in the wall, you should call them.
Yeah. Where did my knife go? How many short sheets do we need? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Let's make sure I have enough. Five. 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
And those are like the ones that you have thinset
That's
on?
what I'm trying to. Good dang. Gonna have to. Boy, boy, oh boy. But it makes it more complicated because I need to make sure this side looks good. Should have ordered more. brush go? Where did that brush go?
It's like right behind your desk, is that Danny? Okay, it was there.
There we go. This stuff is tedious, there's no doubt about it.
Do you feel very present?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Well, I mean, it's requiring all of your attention, so it's kind of like a meditation.
Yeah. Okay. Next row.
Looks good on. Oh wait, there's a piece that's sticking up. Right top. Right top. No, I can see you on this angle. Go to the right. Yep.
Oh, right here.
Yeah.
It's under the sink anyways. Okay. I can't believe I'm cutting it this close. Some of these dots. Okay, and a couple more on the sides here. Probably not much left here on the sides. I don't think I really need. I think I can just do the dots now. Yeah. Basically, my wall tiles are now gonna.
Yeah, because you're gonna have a wall tile come down on that, right?
Yeah. I mean, some of it's a little bit, still a little too far out. Yeah. Okay, some more dots. last couple of sheets. Okay, I'm gonna piece this in. Keep my values that was. Nothing like getting the last little bit here, huh? All right, I'm gonna probably let YouTube go here before I piece in this last little bit. I need to get you out of the bathroom anyways.
Wash it dry. That was pretty close, Steve.
Yeah, I'd say. I guess I should have said 54 square feet.
You just told me 50, didn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, shall we get 10% extra? All right, I'm gonna go on YouTube.
I'm just gonna get the last shots of this and then wait.
Okay, guys, so that is the tile setting there. Hopefully you were able to see that, but we're gonna obviously have some really better close-up shots of the tile work here. But as you can see, those little tabby spacers really make a difference with being able to space things out. So I definitely cut it short a little bit. I have some remaining pieces. Like if hey guys, no guys, stay. Don't. Yeah, sorry, I didn't want my dogs to walk in there. So yeah, but yeah, definitely ran it pretty close there, and you know, always try to get 10%, 15% extra for sure. That would definitely give you the extra ability of what you need. So, you know, I know that was a long forum there. I don't even know how long we're going on here for, but I'm sure that's been quite a bit of time. Let me see if I have any questions here. Philia looks good. No, thanks, man. Rick Stoats, I'm actually cleaning up for the day after laying some hardy backer board in my bathroom. Okay, that's good. No problem, SG. Great job. Thanks for sharing with us. Yeah, so really, you know, the live streams are really primarily just to highlight, you know, the real world situation, you know, as messy and as, you know, difficult as it can be, and the length of time too. You know, I mean, in some sense, I feel like once you guys, you know, could see that it took 2.5 hours to do, that's really what you're going to be in for if you have everything prepped properly on it. So, all right. Thanks a lot. I'll let you guys go, and I'll see you in the next. Hey, Scuba, get out of there. Scuba, come. Get out. Out, 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 out.